Once upon a time, Annie was frozen by her anxiety. She could hardly move or see joy anywhere, until one day she realized her own thoughts could thaw her from the inside. Annie began using her thoughts more and more each day until she warmed up. Then she discovered she was living in a beautiful enchanted forest, which she can now fully experience. This is Annie's manifesting success story. Hello, and welcome to this episode of More Money. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and today I'm here with Annie. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. This is Annie's first interview in the Year of Growth series, and I'm so excited to connect with her and have her share her story because it's awesome. So I always start with this, Annie. Tell me what's awesome.
I'm sitting in my new house. That's pretty awesome.
Yay, that is awesome.
Yeah. I had been kind of staying with a friend for a couple of months. And so I'm really, 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 really happy to be in my new house.
Yay. And we are going to talk a little bit more about that process a little later in the interview because that's so awesome to be there. And there's a cool evolution that goes with that. So I always like to ask this because I love to hear this story. How did you come across me? How did our paths cross?
I think you came up as a suggestion I listen on Stitcher, and your podcast came up as a suggestion. I listened to some other positive kind of podcasts.
Yes.
And then I listened to it, and then I listened to 3 years and 2 months.
That's amazing. 3 years with a podcast in 2 months, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was about 3 years. So
definitely close. Yeah.
I started at the beginning and caught up. So
that's awesome. And what was happening in your life before you started listening?
So I had made a pretty big leap as far as career wise. I left I went into private practice. I'm a therapist, and I left working for a county and then went into private practice. And then I had all of these contracts that were in the process but weren't quite clicking for some reason. They were in a holding period. And then kind of in my personal life, I was in a holding period also. I try not to say stuck because I think I was there for a reason. I definitely felt stalled out a little bit.
Yeah. I love it. And what happened when you started listening to the podcast?
I started to implement some of the techniques, and I really started to notice the story that I was telling myself, and I started to change it.
So. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So right now you have been in the Enchanted Circle for 27 days, which is awesome. So what helped you make that original decision, or how did you make the decision to join? Why did it feel right?
I thought about it a lot and really mulled it over because it's an investment. And as I kind of identified figuring out my money story, I'm a hold tight kind of person. But then I started to feel the relief that just some of the things you've taught on the podcast. And so I felt that relief, and I felt huge changes really fast. And I'm a therapist, and it often takes years to make changes like the ones that I made using the stuff you taught in just a few weeks. And so I was pretty impressed. So I wanted more.
Yay! I love that. Yes, we have discussed. So your former money story is hold tight. It might be too early, but do you have any inklings of what your new money story is going to be, or the chapters that you want inside that story, the beliefs?
I've been starting it a little bit. Money flows easily to me is one that pops in. And something about that, I'm really comfortable with money, because sometimes in the past it made me uncomfortable. And so I love, like, in the time where I've been listening to your podcast, I've gotten super comfortable, like looking at my credit score, looking at money, seeing what's going on with it, where before I was kind of terrified of it. And so I'm enjoying this new life, kind of developing money literacy, financial literacy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it's made a big difference.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What do you think the biggest difference, either now or even in the future, being able to develop that literacy and look at things um, will give you? Like what power, or what is it going to change? Or what has it already changed, maybe?
I think it comes with underlining peace that
Mhm.
just in my mind is calmer and I'm not worried so much and I'm just peaceful and happy and I have this sense of trust that's pretty new for me. So
I love it. That's awesome. Oh, that just feels peaceful listening to you talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
been your biggest lesson or aha so far?
Um that and I knew this before, but it's settled in deeper, like that in stillness. Like I try to accomplish things by doing, but sometimes by stopping and being still, then I allow, and then more can be accomplished. And it's
Yeah.
counterintuitive because I think I need to be, you know, hitting the pavement and doing a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. But then when it's not flowing, to pause and go on a walk, tap into that feeling of happiness that I want to generate, and then it just unfolds with ease. Like,
Mm.
yes, awesome.
Yay, that's awesome. I want to talk a little bit about, I love it. I love the peace. I love the ease. And you're right. It is so counterintuitive to think we can be still and do more than running around crazy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
This morning I was so I have a bunch of boxes I need to unpack, and I also have all this stuff with work and all this stuff I need to do, and nothing was really clicking. And this morning, I just paused, went on a walk, just 5 minutes, I think, and then when I got back, this intention, I create a life that I love, popped into my head, and I create a life that I love, and I wasn't trying to think of it, but then it feels so just powerful. Like I create a life that I love, and when I those old like pop in my head, I just take a
Yeah.
deep breath. I create a life that I love, and that's been the newest addition. That was today.
Yay. I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That feels
And
amazing.
and sometimes that I'll say, "Oh, that's the old story." Like, oh, I
Mhm.
hate money. No, I don't hate money. Like I like whatever the like, oh, I hate this feeling or those old thoughts that
Right.
then I just that's my old story, not in a judgy, oh, it's my old story, horrible way, but just oh, that's the old one. What's the new
Mhm.
one? I love money. And
Ah, yes, music to my ears. Oh, that's so fun.
oh,
And
and the sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, go. Yeah.
The worthy activity that I am worthy, like
Mhm.
um taking your big list of things that you want in your life and then put I am worthy in front of it. That was a pretty meaningful activity for me too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What do you think was there a shift that came out of it, or was it just like, yes, I am worthy of this?
Yeah, that it's funny. I do everything for my son now. Like his dental care is top notch, and like one of the things I'm like I'm worthy of dental care because I put like it's nothing to put thousands of dollars into his braces, but I will put myself and not in a sad way or anything.
Yeah.
There's so much I just don't think to do that for myself, and then just thinking that I am worthy of this, but that I don't know if that makes sense, but
Oh, it makes
it's just
total sense, right? And it opens that up. And I think that's really one of the things that's important for that hold tight. That's your former story, but I think that's a big that exercise has a big impact on anyone who's had that story in their past.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
surprised, and I didn't identify the whole tight at first. It was after. I was listening to you read your book, and then
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, because I thought I was one of the other ones, but then all these things in my life started making sense that uh, I'm that hold tight. I was not anymore. I'm not.
Right? I know. Yay. Right? I know. You are no longer, because there was one point in your life where you're that example of like, I'll sleep on the floor so I can hold on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I
Ugh.
know, right? So former. I'm so glad that's in your past.
Yeah.
um, and I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of you even moving into your new place, because I think when you first you posted the question, and I remember um, it was maybe like your first or second day in the Enchanted Circle, and it was something like, I don't even know, but I think it was a question you thought I was going to answer in more or less like, yes, do that, or no, do that. And I instead asked some more questions like, okay, well, does that matter? Does this matter? Like, what is this? And when we came, like, I could see also that hold tight in then, and this was a while ago, but it was in unraveling that story and really looking at, like you said, being able to look at the numbers and being able to look at your credit score, that we were sort of able to realize you wanted something. You're like, I'll feel safe when this happens, or I'll feel peaceful when this happens. And then when we actually got down to the actual number, you already had that number, right, in
Mhm.
your account. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How did it feel to realize that you were sort of waiting on this number that already existed?
Um, well, I signed the lease, so I felt like
Right?
I could move forward.
Yes. I love that. That's the most important thing, I think, is that I could move forward, right? Because that was a part of that, just staying still was, well, I got to have this. I got to have this. And people, you're not the only one to do that, which is why I wanted to highlight it. So many times people will say, I'll feel X when X happens, but they are not clear on what like the X is. It's like, is that $1,000, $100,000, $1,000,000? And once you get clarity on that, you can see how close you are, or what you actually can do to move towards that. So I loved how that all opened up, and then you're like, yep, I signed a lease. And I love that it was like, and you're like, it's for 9 months, because that felt good.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there was feeling like I don't like this should, but I want to be buying a house, and should
Mm-hmm.
I be renting right now, or should I? And then when I thought of sleeping on my friend's couch for another year until my private practice has to be open another year before I can buy, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no. And there was a part where you started talking about investments, like our bills as investments. And
Uh-huh.
when I started thinking that really changed that I'm investing in my happiness. Like, no, this is not, I'm not paying my own mortgage right now, but I'm investing in my peace and my joy and my child. And that made a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yay. What are you looking forward to in the next year?
Um, Fun and laughter and peace and joy and um, seeing my bank account increase a lot. And
Yay.
yeah, and because in the past I was mainly focused on I'm blessed to have a job that I absolutely love. I absolutely love my job. And
Yeah.
I was more focused on being happy and helping people. And
Mhm.
then now this being happy and healthy people and being abundant and going on vacations and having a retirement.
Yes, because you are worthy of all of
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. How does it feel? Has it like to be open to both, not that you get to help people and be abundant and do what you love? Like, was there a shift in realizing you could have it all?
Yeah, I think a big one.
Yeah.
And I think that like I want to be a part of the change in our society that
Yeah.
puts as much um, focus on children and elderly and people that are that disadvantaged or
Mhm.
as they do numbers. So
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that change because I think that change is going to happen and then it happening like starting with me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times I work with counselors or social workers and or teachers, and they get like, everybody, they just need more money.
Right.
There's just no way to sugarcoat that. And I want to be a part of that. And I think learning that we're worth it is important.
Absolutely. I agree. Any advice for somebody who might feel like they're in a holding pattern?
I think find the balance between, because sometimes people who have been my teachers have said, well, when you don't know what to do, do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, but then there's also like figuring out who my future self is, and because my future self is not stuck, she's not in a holding pattern, and so touching in, like, it was powerful to know that there's a part of me that has a solution to everything that I am in, and so tapping into the part of me that has that solution was really helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's advice. I don't know.
It is advice. Yeah, it's get in touch with your future self. And I think even just like somebody hearing you say, and this is true, there is a part of you who knows the solution is hugely powerful. And even if somebody just realizes that, like there's a part of me who knows that, I just have to open that, or you don't have to do anything. Like the first step is really just knowing, right? That there's a part of me who knows what to do next.
Yeah. And that's been powerful, instead of getting all very, worried, like, let's tap into the part of me that knows this. Okay. And that's been nice. What I did think, can I add something?
Absolutely.
So one thing that really helped me, and I think it was, the Manifest It Now podcast, you guys were talking about figuring out your emotional attachment to investments that you've made in the past, or that was extremely helpful for me, because there were, like, when I was in college, I changed my major a million times. I have a ton of student loans, so I've been putting them in forbearance, and I looked back at all the different credit cards, student loans that I had, and saw what I felt guilty about, and then forgave myself if I needed to, or forgave counsel that I had, or whatever energy I was putting out into different areas. And then I paid off 2 credit cards in a month and a half, and I'm making payments on my student loans. Like I made huge, figuring out the emotional attachment to that was really helpful.
Yay. That is awesome.
Yeah, that was before I joined. Like, I made so much change before I joined the Enchanted Circle. I can't wait to see what's next.
Yes, right? And I'm so excited. Like, we were just talking off air before this interview. I'm like, I think you've been here like a couple months. And we actually looked it up, and it had been 27 days, because it feels longer because you've grown so much. Like, you've come so far, I feel like, in 27 days. Yeah.
It feels good.
Good. Yeah. Yay. I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited to continue sharing your story. Thank you for sharing today. All the listeners, make sure to tune in to Annie's next interview and see what she's up to next.
That's exciting.
That is exciting, right? And now I'm just like so excited for the next interview. Like, what amazing things are we going to be sharing?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So thank you all for listening, and tune into next week's episode. Have a great week.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are inspired and you're ready to start writing a new money story, a new life story, to really pick the pin up and design your happy ever after, go to enchantedlifeu.com. That's enchantedlifeu.com to get started. For any links that we talked about in the show, you can find the show notes at manifestingsuccessstories.com.